What's up, folks? Casual Dad popping in real quick for a quick update on the Warhammer SKULLS weekend. We've got a lot going on. We've had some really cool campaigns. I will admit to both the Khorne and Slaanesh campaigns, Khorne and Tzeentch campaigns. I was cruising right along, humming along pretty happily, going through the progression in the campaign, and then both times I hit Uthar, Uthar the Destined of the Leagues Votann. And turns out if you give the Leagues Votann, especially Uthar, extra cards, it makes him super hard to beat. And so I got hard locked, did the plasma reset on both, and couldn't get through it. So I didn't beat either of those. And I was especially sad that he was in the first third of the campaign. If you were playing on the Tzeentch campaign, he was much earlier. I was so close to done with the Khorne campaign. I was like, I'm going to get this guy. And I did not. And I was using mostly a Psyker heavy, so Lord of Change, the old school Lord of Change. Huron Blackheart. So every time I was getting kills, my things would increase in attack value, but they also became dramatically more vulnerable to Uthar. And so I just didn't have the staying power to do it. Now, in hindsight, I'm kicking myself because I never tried shield spam, with this guy in particular being a really, really powerful piece. Now, I only have one of the Psionic Blast demons, one of the greater ones. There are two others that I could have. Running all three of them really probably would have taken care of him. But it was extremely. I really never got through there. Yeah, it was a lot. So not having either of those Psionic Blast cards that could have helped out probably hurt, but I was really hoping that I could beat the campaign without any kind of special benefits. Even this guy's pretty rare. So I would love to hear how other people got through it, how you beat it, particularly how you beat Uthar, just in case he comes up again. That was really, really good. The Huron deck was really good just running through the campaign. Really enjoyed it. It was pretty phenomenal. I think in the end games I was throwing something like 1,000 damage per attack, which is pretty cool. And of course that Psionic Blast building up with the Warp Surge, especially for the Tzeentch campaign, was fun to watch. I could see how the Nurgle Psionic Blast demon in particular would have been absolutely clutch there because he would mass poison the board, and any card that died of poison would not trigger Uthar's trait to add those judgment tokens to it. So that could have been really good. I thought about poison spam, but I never thought about shield spam, and I'm kicking myself for that. So quick update on those. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and play a game of the Horde mode. Just to jump through it, this is the current Nurgle campaign, the third of our 4 Chaos Gods, with the final one to be Slaanesh, starting tomorrow. And this campaign goes through today. I'll try to get this video up today so y'all can see this before this ends. And this is running the Mask. It was an absolute dream in Horde mode because you are relying on going through a whole lot of enemies. And ooh, this is going to be a rough one. You're relying on chainsawing through a lot of enemies before your cards die, and you have your normal deck size, whereas they have up in the 20s. So the Mask is particularly good because you get to attack first. And so in any of the opponents you can actually take out before they attack, your cards get a whole lot of extra durability. So I've got a bunch of fear, a bunch of high attack stats. This one, of course, being an older card that's absolutely clutch here. And if you have even one copy, this being a max level campaign, you can get through those. Nice. Take them out. Got a bunch of Medicae in here to keep my stuff topped off and make sure that it's able to get those first attacks as much as possible. And here you can already kind of see how that's paying off a little bit. I definitely took a hit there I did not want to take. Old Fabulous over here is an excellent piece in this because he has that Medicae, of course, anti-infantry, but then also has very good attack stats in both melee and ranged. So he's a really strong piece for the Mask. I should have thrown a Medicae in there. That was a mistake on my part because that means that this guy will probably die before he's attacking first again. But we'll see. I may have a chance to bring him back up to where he can attack first. See, not quite there. Nice. The Keeper of Secrets is just a phenomenal piece. Do some Psychic. Go ahead and give this guy a little limp along bit. Oh, poison, no! We've already... Oh, look at that. See that right there? Absolutely clutch. So it saves your fear cards from getting poisoned fairly frequently, which is, of course, a really, really important thing to get. So I'm playing on the very high game speed. Hopefully this isn't going too quickly. See, and that will take both of them out, but that would give me return fire. And this is against Zeemut, so I want to take as few ranged attacks as possible, because, of course, she gives that massive buff to ranged attack the first time a friendly card shoots. And now you're seeing me readying to do a melee strike. I'm not doing that because I don't want to take the hits back. I'm trying to be very, very conservative with my hit points here and make sure that my cards are staying alive. are not only staying alive, but also have maximum health at all times, so that they are comfortably able to attack first as long as possible in this game, because that's really huge. You want to be very, very precious with your hit points through this. A couple other wrinkles here. I've also toyed with a Khorne deck, which was very effective. I was very pleased with it. Which was a lot of fun. Let's see if I can melee these, actually. So this guy, ooh, not quite enough. Yeah. I did do a melee Khorne deck that was a lot of fun. Did a particularly good job. But one challenge is that as you are playing different deck modes, what you're up against keeps changing. So one of the unique things about Horde Mode is even if you lose, even if you don't manage to clear the entire opponent's deck, you still will then play the next round as if you had won it. So what's been coming up quite a bit is that I am, oof, man, a lot of big game hunter there. Bye. Okay, this is going to be a clutch one. I've only got a couple things left, and then Zemut herself is very frightening because she has target acquired, but Deadshot. So perfect. So Zemut's going to deploy and Deadshot. What's his face over here? Lucius the Eternal. So I don't have to worry about. Is it enough? Oh my God, she lived. Wow. So I don't have to worry about the mask itself getting hit either by the buff. So we got this. Cleared it. Nice. So we don't have to worry about the mask taking that dead shot and taking the full blast of the opponent's stuff. This thing is scary in Horde mode, especially with the mask deck. And these end screens are so very satisfying. Okay, so I had a bunch of half-finished thoughts there. Let me go ahead and finish those real quick. So even if I hadn't cleared all of the warlords, I would still progress to the next stage, which is great for rewards, so you never have any losses in Horde mode, as long as you don't surrender or disconnect. So yeah, watch those disconnects. But yeah, so that means that you can continue to progress and get the rewards very quickly, and it's kind of a fun challenge, but the downside is you can't tech your deck. So in most of these campaigns, you lose a match, you're like, all right, now I know it's in that deck, I'll rebuild this thing to fight that. You can't do that in Horde mode, because you will always continue fighting the next thing. So there's always a little bit of guesswork. Harry, the developer, has put out a bunch of information. There are actual guides on the website and in the Discord that will actually tell you what is coming in each round. Doesn't give you the full details, but says who the warlord is, and then who is going to be, or like what kind of things to watch out for. So there are a handful of decks, especially Swarmlord decks, that are very, very different because they have fewer monsters, but they're chunky. So you've got Old One Eye instead of your Swarm of Gaunts. And so teching for those is nice and helpful. But that is that. I wanted to be really quick here. I don't have any rewards. The Great Unclean One reward is awesome. Really strong piece. Probably my favorite of the Greater Demons. A little bit harder to build a deck around just because it's kind of an odd piece with the low psychic, high melee, but good God, those hit points. With the buffs to both poison and regeneration, this guy got a big bump this season, so I'm pretty excited to see more of him. And then also the free reward of Typhus is awesome. I am 3 copies, so 1 more win plus 1 random draw away from leveling up his melee, which will make him a piece I can actually take in Skulltaker decks without really losing out on the higher melee of some of the other cards in that price point. Still puts him a little bit squishier or a little bit lower on the hit points, but even that rank 1 fear is really helpful. Got decent hit points, and then also has both psychic and poison. Really strong piece to balance out a Skulltaker deck. And Typhus. Typhus. I just like taking Typhus, the Herald of Nurgle, even with his ancient clunky model. So I'll get that in my next game, regardless of whether it's a win or not. Yeah. I've also heard that some people are running the new Abaddon against this guy, big boy Abaddon. Also a strong piece in this campaign, just because his trait gives you a bunch of momentum. If you are killing enemy cards, you get a bunch of readies for free for that, which lets you continue to wave clear and such. And so you can comfortably clear 3 cards per shot if they're the swarm ones, which is like knocking these suckers out, and then your return fire is a lot more dramatic. I have found he struggles a little bit with momentum. So his momentum is really good, but then you can peter out in terms of cards because you don't have any defensive buff. In fact, he's actively hurting your cards. The more powerful they are, the more he hurts them in exchange for the buffs. So very fun warlord. I have played him a little bit, and this is the deck I put together for it. But you can do basically anything with him. Really, really good with regen, with berserk, with... I'm going to do a full guide on him later, but let me just throw in here that he's extremely good with Furious Charge and Precision Shot, because that lets you get a kill before your turn, so you actually start the turn with the buffs you would have from your readies, because you get that regardless of when the card dies. So poison, killing cards at the end of turn, or Furious Charge or Precision Shot, killing a card before you actually activate, means that you can really set up some very nasty attacks, even if you didn't kill an opposing card in your previous turn. So we'll cover that in the guide too. Interesting Warlord, fun to play. So that is it. We're going to keep it pretty simple. Next up, we do have the Slanesh campaign coming. We haven't seen everything that's coming in that yet. It's going to be charge-based instead of the reward string that we've seen before. It's also going to be focused against Necrons. I know very little about what's going to be different about this one, except that it is still part of the SKULLS week. So we'll see. We'll see what rewards come out of that. I'm curious. So 18 more hours left in this sucker as of recording. I'll get this video up as soon as possible so you guys can hopefully benefit from this before the end of the Nurgle campaign. And so we can see if we can get those full community rewards for getting up to 8,888,888 enemy cards killed. I think today there should be plenty of time for everyone to get on that. So anyway, that's it. Until next time. Cheers.